Hey, everybody, on today's Locked On Bama, we're going to talk about an Alabama player that had a little run in with the law here recently. We're also going to talk about a huge crystal ball that has come in favor of the Crimson Tide. So stick with us, and thanks for making us your first listen when it comes to all things Bama.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey again, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking. And we woke up to a player arrest.
We did wake up to a player arrest. First of all, thanks again for making us your first listen when it comes to all things Bama. But Eli Ricks, a newcomer to the Alabama Crimson Tide, has not forgotten some of his old LSU ways. That's how I'm going to frame it. But Jimmy, you know about this. You've been on top of it as a member of the On3 network. So why don't you go ahead and fill us in with Eli Ricks?
Yeah, apparently on Sunday evening, he was arrested traveling through Jones County, Mississippi. Total speculation on my part, but I've just happened to make that drive a couple of times or something similar. You pass through Laurel, Mississippi, where Jones County is. You pass through that on directly between Baton Rouge and Tuscaloosa. I mean, if you're driving to Baton Rouge to Tuscaloosa on the interstate, you're going to go through Jones County. So probably, I'm guessing that's why Eli Ricks was in the area. Might have spent the weekend back with his buddies at LSU. So I think Luke is smart to blame it on LSU. It's apparently where he was returning from when this went down. But hey, look, two things, because I haven't been really in the actual legitimate news media too long. This is one of my first arrests where I'm on a news media team, if you want to put it that way. And of course, I didn't report it. Clint Lamb from Bama On3 who reported it. But here's the deal. You've got to report stuff like that because it's news. It's news when an Alabama player gets in trouble publicly. It's also public news because arrest records are public records in the United States. It is not a private matter. As a matter of fact, Alabama didn't tip anyone off, or Eli Ricks didn't tip anyone off. This was published on the Jones County Sheriff's website. That's how everybody knew this had happened. So as a news organization, Luke, you have to report this and tell the fans, hey, this happened. But does that mean we or anyone else thinks this is a big deal or indicative of who Eli Ricks is or will have any effect on the upcoming season? No. Not every news is an earthquake. This is just, we got to tell. I mean, literally, as nonchalant as that sounds, that's literally sort of how it went this morning. Is we got to report this. I mean, that's literally how it was because obviously the news organization, we have no, you don't want to get anyone, embarrass anyone, get anyone in trouble. It's not about that. It's about, hey, we report anything publicly that goes on with the 85 players on the team. So, but is it going to result in a suspension for Ricks? Is he in big trouble? Does this mean he won't be on the team? Does this mean he won't be a starter? No. I think all in all, this is a very minor situation.
I think it's kind of minor. I do think it's kind of funny that Alabama Twitter has embraced this in a way, saying our defense is going to be held. I mean, we've already had our defensive coordinator get a DUI. Eli Ricks has been arrested. Bryce Young apparently has a grill. That's a lot of positive things going on because you do need a little bit of nastiness about your team. And again, nobody's saying that you should check the arrest reports to decide your top 25. But I do feel like as somebody has been paged, Josh is going to have to come to the office.
It's real funny though when you say that about, hey, now we're getting a reputation. This is great. Now everybody's going to think we're tough. I hope somebody on our defense talking trash to Utah State in the opener is talking trash to a Utah State offensive lineman or a wide receiver and points at Ricks and it's like, don't go messing with Ricks. He'll drive without a license. Or he'll drive with no insurance, which is actually what he ain't even got insurance and drives around. Don't mess with him.
Hey, look, I'm impressed he had enough money to buy the gas. I mean, if you can buy gas right now, you can afford the insurance.
Maybe that's his NIL deal is with Chevron.
Well, in the end, I feel like this is not going to be some kind of long-term suspension or anything like that. I mean, I think this will be at the very most, he might miss game one, which is, a soup can. But I'm guessing it's going to be more like stadium steps kind of thing, right?
That's what I would. Well, I mean, Nick Saban's talked publicly about this, so I'm not giving inside scoop. I'm not really speculating. This is Nick Saban has publicly said this. The very first thing they do when there is an arrest that involves alcohol or a drug is there will be an assessment as to whether Eli Ricks, was he acting like a 21-year-old college student, or does he have a problem? They want to figure that out and help the kid. That's first and foremost. Is he acting like virtually any other 20-year-old, or does he have a problem? And they make that assessment in an attempt not to punish him, like, hey, is this a problem? And once they figure out that he did something a little bit wrong, he'll be punished. And stadium steps is a way to put it. I think it'll be stuff like that, maybe a police car ride along, maybe a little education about how, if you smoke too much dope, your taste in television shows plummets. I mean, who knows? I don't know. It's hard to justify punishing a kid for possessing something that is legal in like literally half of the country. I mean, it's not, it's kind of hard to put somebody under the jail for that.
It's almost like trying to get on a basketball coach right now for buying a player 3 years ago, when literally that's what everybody's doing right now. I mean, that's why I believe LSU should get in trouble. I believe Kansas should get in trouble, et cetera, et cetera. At the same time, it's sort of like, if it's legal now, you realize how dumb it was back then maybe you need to cut them some slack. I hate to take the side of Will Wade. Here's how you're wrong if you're ever agreeing with Will Wade.
That's what I'm saying. If Will Wade told me puppies are cute, I'm going to rethink how I view puppies.
That is a very fine point. Jimmy,
he'd be like, man, puppies are cute. And I'll be like, those little furry shitting machines, those things.
And trust me, it doesn't have to be a puppy. I've got a Morky Poo. If Josh doesn't get his butt to the office, I'm going to lose it. I mean, and it's every time I'm talking. That's why I mute it, people. But anyway, so I have a dog. I have a Morky Poo. I should say my wife has a Morky Poo. And this Morky Poo is a very expensive dog that has every disease known to man. It's a female dog that has testicular cancer. I don't know how that works, but and she has anxiety problems, separation problems. She chews her own skin to the point where you have to put all these various creams and lotions and things on her. So she tries not to do it, and like she still licks that off and then chews her skin to death. And she has to wear a diaper because she's so anxious when we leave that she will just crap all over the house if we don't put a diaper on her. Well, and normally if you do that for a dog, they don't crap on themselves. She has finally figured out they're just going to clean me up if I do it, so it's no big whoop. So we can't take the diaper off of her until we let her outside because things may go flying out of the diaper.
This dog reminds me a lot of myself watching an Alabama football game.
Or that time you were dating somebody at NASA and you drove from Miami to Houston. You remember that story about the woman with the diaper?
Yeah, okay. Never stopped even for the bathroom. Just pooped and pissed on herself the whole way there because she couldn't wait to murder someone. She wanted to murder someone so bad she pooped and peed on herself the whole way. And man, that I will say that's
committed.
That there's some Saban bot in that girl.
Jimmy, all right, here's what we're going to do when we come back. We're going to talk about a huge crystal ball projection for Alabama. This is one we've been waiting for, and it sounds a little bit like something may happen soon. So we'll talk about that when we get back. And we're back.
Nice tease. Good tease. Good tease going into the break.
I'm working on the teases. I'm going to start. I'm working on the teasers. I'm going to start wearing low cut shirts. Anyway, Eli Holstein has
Oh,
been
yes.
crystal balled to the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And I think this is huge. Hank South actually did it. This is a guy very reputable, Hank South with Bama Online. And Eli Holstein, by the way, had an incredible, I don't know if he's a camp or just a quarterbacking thing in California. He had
Elite 11.
Elite 11. Okay. Okay.
Elite 11.
Okay. I thought you dropped your phone again.
I sort of did. I'm at the pickleball courts, and I got pickleball going on over the. But yeah, I'm actually I dropped the phone because I'm excited about Hank South crystal balling Eli Holstein, because that's really big news. I mean, you can't exaggerate enough that this is significant.
It really is, and I think it's very telling. By the way, he had a Spark score. I'm not even sure what that stands for, but I know it's like all these various drills that they do. They time you, and apparently his were off the charts. He was just awesome.
Best ever for a quarterback. Best ever for a quarterback ever.
I mean, I get the sense that maybe after this, and maybe after this last visit, that, and again, he and Arch have always had committable offers, so I don't feel like it was, he was waiting on Arch to make a decision or hold it, or Alabama told him to hold off. I don't think that's the case at all. But I get the sense that Alabama finally just turned it up and said, we love us some Arch Manning. Who wouldn't love Arch Manning? But this guy's really, really good. And Arch may drag this thing out a little bit longer. And we feel like we can get Eli right now. And if we really put the pressure on, am I off? You sort of shaking your head. Am I off here?
Well, no, I don't think it's off. I'm not sure. I mean, as we sit here, I'm not sure. And that's why, to me, it's big that Hank, who is great, he's one of the best people in our industry, works for quote competing network, but man, I'll always shout out the best in the business, and Hank is a high quality guy, and he's really good at his job. And if Hank will put his name on that, see, I think the fans sometimes, they've seen that the crystal balls and what we call it at On3 Sports, the recruiting prediction machine, they've seen it not work. And they've seen it be wrong, so they just blow it all off. But actually, they shouldn't. And most of the time, you get it right. And it's because Hank talks to these kids. He talks to their coaches. He talks to people in the community. He has sources. This isn't just a fan with a guest. This is a connected guy. And Sam Spiegelman, by the way, at On3, he put in an RPM machine pick for Holstein to go to Alabama. And again, Sam Spiegelman has a national reputation, much like Hank has one in the Alabama community. So it is a big deal, and people shouldn't ignore this. In terms of who can commit when, that's what we've reported. That's what our information is that both kids, Eli and Arch, are free today, tomorrow, the next day to choose Alabama, commit, and then it's over. And now that I think the country's starting to learn more about, and Alabama fans starting to learn more about Eli, they can see why. That even though Arch is generational, maybe Eli is too. I said this morning, I think, in a post, I think it was this morning, Arch is maybe the greatest intangibles quarterback prospect ever. And by that, what I mean is his intelligence and how he has been trained to be an elite quarterback. There's never been anything like him. Then throw in the fact he's so gifted. He has the DNA of 3 highly successful NFL quarterbacks running through his blood. Then throw in he's the most well-trained quarterback prospect ever. I mean, in terms of the mental part of it. But then look at Eli Holstein. He might be among the best ever tangible prospect in terms of his size, his speed, his athleticism, his arm, his feet, everything physical you'd want in a quarterback is check, check, check. I said it a month or two ago, and I was unsure about saying it when I did, but now I'm ready to double down on it. I mean, Eli is Josh Allen. That's what he is. And by that, I'm not saying he'll be in the pros as good as Josh. I'm just saying every single thing you would say to describe Josh Allen, you could use to describe Eli Holstein, all of it.
You know, as you were talking, it dawned on me, as a guy with 4 kids, it sounds like okay, you're going to Orlando being a great quarterback in this case. And you can go to Disney, being Arch Manning in this case, which has this rich tradition. You know it's going to be fun. It's expensive, and maybe you don't. Maybe there's some unknowns. Maybe the lines are a little bit longer, and so maybe you don't get as much out of the trip in a way. But it's going to Disney is a rite of passage. It's awesome. But then there's also Universal Studios that you can go to where the lines may be a little bit shorter, and they've got a bunch of cool stuff too. It's less expensive, and you win either way. But maybe Eli Holstein is Universal Studios. You look confused.
I'm trying to wrap my head around. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I think it's, you're usually really good with the analogies, and I think that's fine. I think it makes sense. Mine's more rude, and I'll get hate mail over it. But to me, I look at like Arch is Jennifer Aniston. She is really pretty. She's super pretty. But the thing that's so great about Jennifer Aniston is, who doesn't love Jennifer Aniston? Everyone loves Jennifer Aniston. Girls love Jennifer Aniston. Guys love Jennifer Aniston. She's been beautiful forever. She's funny. She's likable. Everyone is in love with Jennifer Aniston, and Arch is Jennifer Aniston. Eli might be Kate Upton. And it's like, well, I don't know about everybody in the world being in love with Kate Upton, but you just walk away from that. I mean, it's like, wow. Eli's like, wow.
Well, Kate Upton certainly has the tangibles.
That's what and Jennifer Aniston isn't all intangibles, and neither is Arch. Yeah. She's really good looking. She's beautiful. She's always been beautiful. I'm just saying that like, I can't wait to be in love with Jennifer Aniston forever. And then Kate Upton walks up in her down the runway in her bikini, and then it's like, whoa, kind of a scene stealer. And that's what Eli's like. Eli's like, hey, I know you're in love with Arch, but watch me throw this ball. And then you're like, whoa, let's rethink this whole Jennifer Aniston thing, perhaps. But hey, there's no way to lose with either one of those great gals. There's no way to lose with either one of these quarterbacks. If Alabama ends up with one or the other, and all indications are that they will get Arch or Eli, what a home run. It's a grand slam home run either way.
Your analogy, you get the rare analogy victory. You really do.
Yeah, that's good. I
swear I thought that was going to work out for me, and it didn't.
Well, I mean, I prefer Disney. I think.
Well, I know. I think we all kind of do, but really, Universal Studios is probably more
bang for the deal. It's a better deal. It's probably a better deal.
Yeah, it's probably a better deal. So, okay, Jimmy, got to tell everybody about Bet Online. Going to do that right now as I put the Bet Online logo up there. Beautiful. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the MLB season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline is where the game starts. You can even find out some odds already for Heisman for next year, for college football playoff participants next year. All that stuff's at betonline.net. Go check them out. All right, Jimmy, just to wrap up, first of all, Malik Bryant, we won't dive into this, but Malik Bryant read off his top five players, top five teams, and Alabama made the list. Now, everybody thinks Alabama is the favorite. We'll talk about Malik in another episode. But what I thought would be kind of cool, since we just wrapped up the 2022 draft, the 2023 mock drafts are already out, and I'm pulling up one from SB Nation. Now, these things, take them with as they say, a grade of salt. But if you go to the 2023 mock draft right now, SB Nation, I should say, has Bryce Young going 1 to Houston, which would be great because then he could reunite with Mechie. Detroit taking C.J. Stroud, who would then be throwing to Jameson Williams. And
that's a reunite too. That's a reunite also.
Oh, yeah. And then the Jets taking Will Anderson, who would be on the same team, I guess, as C.J. Mosley and Quinnen Williams. So very, very cool right there.
Yeah. Any other Bammers there in that first round?
A lot of them. This is where things go off the rails a little bit. They have at 14, they have Malachi Moore. I don't see that.
I mean, that's
a reach.
I mean, I love Malachi Moore. I love Malachi Moore. Great player. Looking forward to him for the next 2 years at Alabama. But Malachi's got a long ways to go before he can even think about playing in the NFL, much less the first round.
Then they have Eli Ricks going to Cincinnati at 22. Here's another one that will
more likely than Malachi. I mean, more likely than Malachi. Yeah. They won't care about this little arrest thing either. I mean, that's just not even, that's a blip on the screen. But no, Eli Ricks in the first round, I would not consider senseless. As a matter of fact, had Ricks stayed at LSU and I saw Ricks, projected in the first round at LSU, I wouldn't even bat an eye. I'd go, yeah, that's probably right.
And I mean, if Eli Ricks got arrested on the way to the stage accepting his hat during the draft, Cincinnati would be like, this is cool, this is fine. That's how good Eli Ricks is. Then here's one that sort of took my breath away. The Chargers at 26 select defensive tackle from the University of Alabama, Byron Young.
Okay, now I will say this. I know most of the astute Alabama fans are going to see that and go, okay, he's just literally making stuff up. I say watch Byron Young. I think Byron Young will be Alabama's 2022 version of Christian Barmore 2 years ago and Phil Mathis last year, who were both high picks. I think Byron Young, if he's healthy, he missed the spring. If he's healthy, I am not going to rule out Byron Young being a first-round pick. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to doing this research project. I've got this theory that I hope proves right because it's so crazy. Because when I say this, you'll go, there's no way that's true. And I don't think it's true either, Luke, but I'm looking forward to finding out if it is. And that's this. I wonder if for returning defensive linemen, I'm not counting ends, I'm not counting edge players, no linebackers. As defensive linemen, does Byron Young have the most career tackles for loss, and sacks in the entire SEC? He might be the most experienced, proven playmaker in the entire conference at that position. That seems hard to believe, and it's probably not true, but I think it might be, to the point I'm going to research the whole damn thing.
I skipped one, and I just because they're so close together, Jahmyr Gibbs to the Raiders at 16.
No, I mean, if Breece Hall is not a first-round pick, is a small back going to be a first-round pick? See, I just have I love Gibbs. I've already said he's going to be SEC Player of the Year. I don't see a 5'10 and a half, 190-pound running back going in the first round. I think the NFL is going to look at him like, this guy's a spectacular third down back that we'll take on day 2.
I think you're probably right, but I thought it was interesting also the Raiders, after declining Josh Jacobs' fifth-year option, are going to take another Alabama back. Interesting. But the Kansas City Chiefs at 29, for the 7th Alabama player in the first round, take Henry To'oTo'o.
Too small. I love Henry. Too small. Hey, I know Nakobe Dean went in the 3rd because of injuries and not his size, but the fact that Nakobe Dean went as late as he did, Henry is the same player, but if anything, a tad lesser, anything. But they're the same kid, right? And and Dean went late in the 3rd. So Henry in the 1st. But gosh, I love Henry To'oTo'o. Next year it's got a lot of competitors for it because of Will and Bryce, but Henry's one of my favorites on that whole team as a person. What a great kid.
All right, guys, thanks for making Locked On Bama your first listen every day. Now go make Locked On SEC your next listen. Two back-to-back listens. It's easy stuff. Locked On SEC is where you get all your daily SEC news in less than 30 minutes with SEC expert Chris Gordy.
Gordy's good. Gordy's really good. He knows his stuff.
It's free and it's available the same place you get all our stuff. So go check out Locked On SEC. Great dude, Chris Gordy. And Jimmy, that's going to do it for today. We will be back tomorrow with another Locked On Bama. And until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.